from the supraconscious, you see. The future. He knows from the future, you see, the spirits come and tell you.
Yes, and he knew that what was going to happen. And by those things happening, he would then be able to manipulate.
Gives him a lot of power.
Yeah, no.
You see, this is the power of the spirits coming on. But he doesn't know. The same spirits will eat him up, bone by bone, and flesh by flesh. He doesn't know that. What he's done, he's not going to be perfect. Not going to be perfect. All of them you will see how they will done. That is what circumstance.
Because I don't think he realizes, he's lost that realization to realize the possibilities.
You see something like if these things go into your head, they're absolutely. That's the advantage. That's a very big advantage that anything such things you try goes into your head. You see, then you get multiplied, and then you just do not get any rapport with yourself. You just don't understand anything. That's how you are suffering.
According to the Purana, no guru, no teacher can be either involved in fame, women, and money.
Will not be involved.
Yes. Sex-wise, I'm talking about. Cannot be involved. Any person.
Those are the gross senses.
Yes.
Of course not. You see, how can...
And they all are three involved in those three things.
You see, actually, if you want, I was reading them out in Shweta. That's the thing. That. You see, you get detached in the sense you become the personality. You are a detached personality. You don't know what fame is. You don't know what fame is. It comes to, you see, you may become famous is a different one. But you don't know what is fame is. Just don't care, You just don't care. The person who is truthful also understands this. But the one who is realized, the one who is going to be the guru or who is the guru, is the one who just doesn't care for this. It doesn't come into it. I'll give you an example. I went to America. There was one very rich man who went to me and his sister was down with the cancer. And sort of went to the hospital and all that. She got cured. And he was very much impressed. And he said, Mother, I'm very much thankful to you and you must help me more. But I'll give you so much money to have an ashram. I don't think you talk to this trustee, Mr. Something about policy. So he talked to him. I don't understand much about it. He said, no, I will do this. And we went and talked to this gentleman. And he said, listen, Mata must go and but I have one problem. So, finally she accepts his what is the problem? So he said that my wife is a person. She's possessed, she's cancer, and she's such and such, and I want to help her. And if she says that it is yes, it is like that, my wife, then I can have a divorce. Divorce, I get rid of myself. But just now we are never on this problem. You see, someone or other tried to make this. So very seriously tell you, like me, when she's fine, so that the rest of the time, let's see what it is like. So then, she was, her name was Patricia. I must say, Patricia, she was very sweet, very sweet. And she was herself a pilot. She came on a plane down there. Such a not that Mark was bad. No, he was also a good person. But some dirty woman must have come in between, you see, and you all have such funny ideas. You must change your wives. Like American people have, you must change your fridge and you must change your gurus, you must change your wives. The change is the sign according to them of progress or whatever it is. So I think something like that maybe, but it was very serious allegation about her. So she was such a fine person. So, and then she didn't talk to me back and came to see me. And he said, Mother, what do you think about her? I said, she's not the finest American woman I have seen. She's a very devoted wife, and don't go near them. They have a power of their own, and I will not touch her by anything. So he said, Mother, do you think she's not possessed? I said, not at all. Maybe, but she's not. He said, what about cancer? I said, she doesn't have, and there's no possibility of her getting it. She's a very devoted wife, she's a very nice person, and she loves you. And if you try to have a divorce with her, you'll be a very miserable person. Just don't. It's not at all good for you. As a mother, I'm telling you that if she's my daughter, and I'm proud of her. Oh, his face fell down. So, so I said, you see, maybe I have to tell you. Then Robert Chandubhai said, Mother, you have no pragmatic approach. What pragmatic? I didn't understand the word. He said, you should be practical. I said, what practical? They said that, you see, he is willing. Why don't you say that? But I said, how can you tell me? Right? How can you say? I said, Chandubhai, do you know if there is an innocent person? And if you brand an innocent person like this, leave alone me, I would never do that. But even if you do that, it's a very great sin which you cannot fill up by giving realization to even 100 people. Sure. I said, well, is that the value you have to give? I said, yeah. Now will you do it? I'm out of it. You see, after all, an Indian man, he said, no, I'm out of it. We are going up. Mr. Mark, don't talk to me. I'm going up. If she is a woman like that, what Mother has said, I'm not talking to her. And like that, you see, the whole thing is done. Doesn't matter. What are we going to do with these buildings? I have to have human beings. Human beings. And the temples are to be built of human beings and not of houses which are built to come down. We have to be living images, not these things by which people are impressed for the time being. And when you die, they say that you never take the names. See, such a person cannot. You see, it just does not work. Same about fame. You see, what is fame? It's nonsense. What is a fame? What is a fame? Just tell me. I do never understand. What is fame is what is it. Fame, if it means somebody says, oh, you're great, run away from that place. Because, you see, they may be wanting something out of you. They want to use. Normally, none of the incarnations got fame when they lived. They got only stones and prescriptions. None of them got it. But there's only one way such yoga is going to be better. Because you are going to get actualization of it. You are going to get the experience of it. That's why in your heart, God is going to decide another way. This is the way. If you call it this way, I accept that. It should be so. If that sort of flame is, but you feel that now, you see that yearning for the person. It's a fame which comes out of auspiciousness. You know, auspiciousness is a thing is a quality in a personality by which you improve in your being, in your everything. You get success, not this worldly success, but success that is satisfying. Sri means grace, that is beautifying. Such a person is auspicious, and such a person will have a kind of a fame which is very different from idiom and styles. And the world is going to change. You see, they are not going to have Lord Byron for a statue. No, they are not. Or Wellington is not going to be there. We are going to have something else. Our people are going to change. This awareness is going to change completely. They are going to care for people who have that eternal essence in them. They are not going to follow them.
Mother, I think when we were all talking about these 4 rules, we don't understand, I think, one thing, that the sin against the Holy Spirit is worse than all the worst of the sin.
See, it's very simple to understand. Supposing somebody beats you, you won't mind. If somebody beats me, will you be able to retain it within your heart? The same way Christ has said, it's alright if you insult me, but if you insult my name, I am going to be right on your throats. There are 11 power seers by which he is going to finish all such things. It's very simple to understand. Will not be insulted because of the past. It's very dangerous. That's why he never told anybody that she was the Holy Spirit. She was the Holy Ghost. That's why he didn't say, because that was a protected thing. But she was. Ask the question. Maria, are you busy only cooking? Go there.
I just finished.
Well,
should
it's
be.
so sweet. It's working so hard. Now, will you please go on?
It's very logical, isn't it?
Huh?
It's very logical. I mean, if he's your son, and if he's the son of God, then he must be God. So I wonder why people don't sort of see that, you know.
See, that's the trouble. They can see something. You cannot see. This is Maya. Illusion. This is illusion. You see something which does not exist, and you do not see that exists. It's illusion. It's the illusion. If you can get into that state from where you see the illusion, you just enjoy the illusion is over. Just now as you are laughing at yourself just now, see when the illusion is over.
Yes.
It's a big joke, I was also there. One of them.
Yes, but this is how the whole of Maya acts.
Yes,
surely,
well,
because till you got beyond that way, you were able to.
Very true, agreed. That I do not get that at all. See, you are the crucified ones. Huh? How to expose them? You see, this is the trick of the Maya, if you understand. It's the play, drama. See, you cannot kill them like that. See, because they have entered into your heads. You see, so now how do I do it? Is to put you there.
Yes.
You go into that. You see them, and then you get out of it.
Yes.
And it would be with a greater force and with greater immunity from these horrible things.
Yes. Maharshi said something very funny when we were in September. We were over there. He was talking about a story from the Prayers about the Brahmin who had rice. He went to this king's palace and on his way out he stole some jewelry, and they couldn't understand why he stole the jewelry, because there was a saint who stole his jewelry. They discovered eventually that the food that he had eaten came from a village of thieves. He returned the jewelry back then, you see. As a
What
lesson.
about him doing the same?
Yes, and then he said, he said the story looking at me, you see, and afterwards he walked out, because we'd just about 2 hours before been discussing this question of the money they owe us, you see, and what they've done. And he said to me as he walked out, you see? And it was only 4 months later that I actually saw what he was getting at. He was apologizing for his own deeds. And he then said, there are people in this room who are going to bring down the movement.
No. You see, he is incapable of apologizing. Not that way. But he was trying to play with this, to say these things. So just to show you that I know what you're talking about. He is a thief. And a dirty fellow. See, I mean, I have no dictionary, I don't understand what to say. See, I have no words to say what sort of a man he is. You should really get somebody from Lucknow. These are nice abusers that they use for such people. If you want, I can write to someone. Write about 21 of them. You send it back. This is this you are. And this is the mantra you say about yourself that I am this.
Yes, he's always playing with
his... You cannot imagine what sort of a man he is. We had one like that, but openly he was like. You see, once we had a very great swindler in India, a great swindler. His name was Northampton. I don't know where he learned that swindling, but he met Jawaharlal in America. And in these matters, our Prime Minister was very nice. He was very fond of people who were properly dressed in a very English manner. And they spoke good English, and they had all the English. I mean, he was a Cambridge person, so you can they should say super for super or something. So that kind of a thing, our Prime Minister was very much impressed with. So this fellow went and told him that I'm doctor, I'm this, not English and all. And also our Prime Minister, they say so, I'm not, I don't know, but that he could appreciate a good-looking woman very much. So his wife was a very good-looking woman, as they say. I've seen this horrible fellow. And he managed him somehow. And then when he went back to India, that time I'm telling you that I got to see my husband at the airport. And for us, they allow us to sit inside the lounge or something. And I saw this man with a big hat, over hat. So I told my husband, who is this man? He said, why do you want to? I said, but you tell me who is this man. He said, why are you so childish today? I said, I'm not childish, I'm anxious to do it. So he said, all right, I'll tell you his name. His name is Northampton. And so what is he doing here? He said, why do you want to know about him? Of all the persons, why him? I said, because he's going to loot our country. Really? He said, I said, God. And I said, why? Is he connected with you? He said, very much. I said, how? He's coming for shipping. So, then, what happened that this fellow went to Jawaharlalji and the wife would have her breakfast with him and she used to order about this and that. And, Jawaharlalji was another, as I told you, a very naive person. He never understood that this fellow is up to this. Then he was given from that poor country of ours. Can you imagine? 65 crores of rupees to build a fish. But my husband, as soon as this proposal came up, he put down his foot because I was after his life. You see? So they transferred him and they gave him a bigger post and they said, you become chairman of shipping corporation. And they gave him 65 lakhs of rupees. And the parliament passed it, and our prime minister also was in it. 65 crores rupees were passed to this man. And then he bought ships and so-called ships and he cheated all the big sort of shipyards and all that. Never paid them any money. He ordered the ships, he took the delivery, and every time he took prime minister there, took another deputy prime minister who is nowadays our prime minister, the great fellow, you see. The one who drinks the English. Desai. Another, you see, we have lots of buffoons in our country, you know that. So he took him there, and this fellow, this Desai, was the one who inaugurated and big this thing. And naturally, you see, the poor shipyard people, this Hitachi and all these people who built ships, wouldn't say anything because the prime minister, deputy prime minister coming in, garlanded this, that, and he's going to launch the ship. They launched the ship, and this fellow never gave them the money. The ship was launched permanently, it's out there, and they had no way of collecting anything. And these are the two great people of our country. Can you imagine? The one who is today the prime minister and the one who was. And they gave him 65 crores of rupees. Now, this happened, and then suddenly the whole thing started coming up, just like this. See, and then one man, he found it out, and he leaked it to the government. Then he leaked it to the police and all that. And then suddenly my husband was in Japan, and he suddenly came to me. I said, "How? This terrible thing that's happening here." I said, "What?" Then they told me that this man was supposed to have killed his first wife and took her money and then come to India and did this and that and that and that, and people are after him. And because of this thing, it started off, you see, they found out also about the shipping. And these two great giants of our country, what should I call them, you see? They were saying, you see, don't harass them. The police is very bad, don't harass them. And they were supporting him all the time, these two. But they were simple, they didn't take any money from him as such. But then this man was absolutely caught, and then he one day just ran away from India to some place in Panama, from where we could not have any extradition. The whole thing was hashed out, and all the ships were frozen, all his money was frozen. But still he managed to take away, they say, 4 crores of rupees. But this, the best part of it, my husband says very seriously to me, that do you know that 250 rupees that you have to pay for registration, that also this thug did not pay. Even that he did not pay. And our great people like Jawaharlal Nehru and Morarji Desai were greatest supporters of him. So you shouldn't feel bad about what has happened. You see? It is fact. And then he was arrested. He was extracted. He came to London. London was very good. He came to London. The case was filed in London. And he was telling stories after stories. Jawaharlalji had died by that. You see, he became absolutely dark and he died in a horrible condition. He got a shock last night. But he did such a foolish thing. See, he went out. If you see his old age photography, looks like a dazed person. See. And then this case started in London. And then he said, another drama he played, he said, you see, these people are all against Jawaharlalji to take back name, to do that, to all this blame, this and that. And the judge was listening to him. And the judge said, now, I'm finished. He said, now I say that you are a crook of the first waters, and you are a tongue, and you are this, and you are that. And now will you shut up? That's what they said in English church. I said, that's the way it should be said. And he said, you take 2 running jumps and go to hell. These are the words he used. Nothing. And then he was in jail. He came out of the jail. And then Indira Gandhi, the great, you see, another great lady we had, Prime Minister, she saw to it that he goes out of the Now he's out. So, are we not sufficiently looted? We want more examples.
No.
Attachments.
Just see, it's a fact. You see, so imagine people like that. And I would not even blame Jawaharlalji for this, because he had such a big secretariat with the best, the cream of our country, the most intelligent people. All the intelligentsia of India was behind this, and they all did it in good faith. You see, the good faith part. And none of them got a single pie. Hello, how are you? Yes. Yeah. Very nice children they are. Come along. I've been just waiting for you to come down here. Come along. Sit down. Good. See, the force has come. See, vibrations, you just see the vibrations.
Amazing.
All of them are. See,
Already.
how beautiful. Already realized. Just look at this children. Beautiful they are. Can you remove this, then they can sit comfortably. I think this may be the stumbling down. Yeah. Look at them. Maria, who are they?
We're still expecting Bala to come with some people from Birmingham.
Good. You said there would be only 10 people.
From
Maria, you said there would be only 10 people.
yeah, that's
It's good, and the great people have come. You see, these are great people. What's your name?
What's your name?
You tell your name. What's your name? Just see the eyes spot. Just look at these children. See? Beautiful. Aren't they? Just put your hands like this. Let's see if you feel the cool breeze. Alright? Just like this. She's the bond realized. All of them. They speak Hindi? What language they speak? Gujarati. ઠંડુ આવે છે? હા? All of them. Just see the weather. Can you feel that? Tremendous. They have brought the force for you. Hello. May God bless.
Very strong.
See that? I mean, this is what it is. Can you see? Can you feel them? Can you feel the vibrations? Bala, just see this great.
What is this?
They'll do the job for me. I don't have to say it. Please put your hands also like this, all of you. Just like this. It's so simple. See now? You feel some cool? In the hand? Yes, good.
Very strong.
Are you feeling all right there? All of you? Are you feeling the cool breeze? See? Are you feeling? Let's see. You have to be great people to be mother of such children. You are great children. And they have selected you as a mother. There must be some reason for it. Beautiful. It's beautiful. Now we open that window. That window is better. You open that window. That one. It's good. From where did you come?
One window.
Oh, I did see ceviche in there. That's another one born renard. Are you feeling the cool breeze? Is your father feeling the cool?
I'm feeling it.
Good, see? Have more of it and more of it. Let it go inside. Absolutely. They have got cold. Children have got cold. Nice fish. They've got cold. Nice. It's beautiful. See, we have already got the height. So why should you worry? So many children are born in this country. How do you find it? Better now? Feeling better? Better now? Good. And the best thing is you must know the know-how. Otherwise you are not to believe anything. Why should you not believe anyone who doesn't tell you the know-how? They call it science. Then, do you have anything, any knowledge of science about which you don't have to know how? In Sahaja Yoga, even children, everything. Good. Good, super. Nice. Maria's house is blessed many a time. Isn't it? It's beautiful. Very beautiful. Still. Spark good. Why don't you sit down, Bala? Jane, if the chair people can go back, see, then others can sit in between. Now all those who are occupying chairs should go to the back. Better idea. So that those who can sit in front, you see. This sofa could be pushed a little bit this side. So hello.
Hello.
Come along. We have had a very nice session of great laughter. Something like talking about Charlie Chaplin.
Hopefully he's brought my Hopefully he's brought my
Can't see it. It's just good to see my cheerful others.
I think you should put these chairs down at the back so that they can see. You sit. You are all right. Just sit. Yeah. Just sit away.
Did you turn up?
Hello. Just come forward. Just come. We have been having a big laughter.
Well, it was very fun.
Yeah.
Did she turn up?
Yes, she's upstairs.
She's gone upstairs.
We just brought his wife.
Oh, yeah.
Is your daughter coming? Oh, no.
I don't think so.
I want to come up to you. But she's wanted to recognise Ruth in the photograph.
She's doing this with her glasses. Smaller. She's handsome.
Come here, come.
The train from Glasgow is late.
Yes.
So it's still late.
All right. They are never late with me. Please. Can you sit on the ground?
Oh yes, very much so.
So all the quorum is complete? All of that? Yeah, people from... They have brought the real force, see all of that. Yes, they have brought the sources. Just sit like this, just like this. I like all of it.
There's going to be 10 to 40 of them.
It's good.
One of my friends hasn't arrived. I thought I told her Andrew McCarthy.
No, they haven't.
She hasn't arrived.
Is she coming?
Yes. Just come out of hospital.
Are you feeling the cool breeze?
Yeah.
Good. Got it already. See, it's so simple. What about you? See?
Well, I just wash my hands.
Just see that. Just see. What about you? Are you feeling the cool breeze? Not yet? Just no, you will know if it is there. No, sort of, you will feel that, you see? No. We've been just laughing about all the things, see, and how they cleverly and how they have cheated all of us and all that.
We put you around.
Oh God. And now we know. And now we have to decide and plan out how we are going to outfit all of that. So it's planned. We have to work it out. Okay. It has to be settled down. Experience, which is to be settled down. The Kundalini rises at the first chakra. There's no basic problem. I mean, I would say that, as I have told you before, that I couldn't give realization to the persons in India at all, whether foreigners or Indians. There is something special about you that your own motherland is giving you that power. And it is spontaneous, it is very forceful, and it does happen, but then it settles back. In the sense it has to look after all the centers and all the problems that you've had. So it comes down. Then you start thinking about it. That's the point. You cannot think about it. You didn't get it by thinking. This one thing you must know, that you did not get it by. You got it because it was to happen. So if you think about it, you will reach nowhere. You cannot think about it. It is love. What can you think about love? It's not science. And just now if you watch your eye, watch yourself, you are beyond thoughts. Most of you are. There's no thought. Why? You've done it. Are you too close to that? You find it too hot?
I don't think there's any
You can put it off, I think.
I don't think there's any
Just a light, is it?
Yeah.
Better? Are you feeling the full breeze nicely?
You're feeling the breeze.
Good. So let's talk of something nice now. We've had that.
Yes.
Let's
Talk
talk
about Northampton.
yes, let's have something
You came at the right
about
point.
about the light, alright? We talked about tamasa too much.
Yes.
It's 3 a.m.
This is my fault.
I was going to bring her because she has been initiated into the music. And I commented that I was present. Perhaps you can sort of look at they're not very new. She's about a year old now.
That one is
Really?
They're not very.
What did you say? She has been?
She has tea and mantra, you see. She's about a year old. She's so that was the last auction.
She got Rama's mantra.
Yeah, we got that.
Hmm?
We got that.
Rama's mantra.
Yeah.
Catching the right heart. You also can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. Mm-hmm.
That's his Rama's. You see, this is Rama's chakra.
Mm-hmm.
So I will tell you about this again.
We both have that. Much.
So I will have to tell you about ourselves. What are we? Actually, we know so little about ourselves. This ignorance is responsible for this kind of a problem that you all have faced because you are so ignorant about it. And the reason is the knowledge about what I am going to tell you, you can only have when you are a realist. Without that, one cannot talk about it and one cannot explain to you because it is too fantastic. It's so fantastic that you cannot believe it and you cannot accept it. And that's why it is not for human mind to conceive it. It goes beyond. If I say that there is God's divine power, which is the most dynamic power, which is the only power that guides this creation, that coordinates everything, that looks after us, and that has made us a human being. We won't believe it, that there is such a power of God. All that you see other things is absolutely false. It's just a reflection, is not the mirror. And this power can enter into every atom, every molecule, and can control all that. We see it every day, those things, but we take it for granted. Like we see the flowers suddenly becoming the fruits. How do they become? A mango tree will give you mangoes. It won't give you roses. How does it happen? If you see, even in chemistry, elements that are created on this earth have a regular planning about it. They are divided into exactly 8 divisions. Now, how all this happens? We never think about it. We take it for granted. And we try to find out what we see, what it is, and then we say, oh, we are great scientists. But you cannot say how it works. Even if you take a sulfur dioxide, an ordinary atom of sulfur dioxide, the sulfur atom is on top and there are 2 oxygen. If you see it under microscope, you can find out that it pulsates. And there's a kind of a vibration that's passing between these atoms. And these vibrations are of 3 types. Unequal, equal, dissimilar, all sorts. And who does that? And how, why? That certain act like this, certain act like that. Even the matter which is a dead thing, which we do not think is capable of having any energy in it. That's what we used to think. Now, of course, you have changed your ideas about that. That too has such a beautiful arrangement. Even up to the molecule stage, up to the atom stage, you can see how it is mathematically arranged, the protons and the neutrons around. It is just to see and wonder it. And when you see it in the nature, and these elements, their atoms, then you see later on, when you start watching something much more complex, that is a living cell with the carbon coming into it. We just take it for granted. We never bother to know from where did this carbon come and how with carbon combination life came in. We just take ourselves also for granted as if we are great kings and that whatever we have got, our human life is our own, you see, sort of thing. And we think that if we have this human body, it's our special right to have it. Even this eye of ours, if you see, is such a complex camera. How it works instantaneously, how it captures, is something beyond our comprehension. So we negate it. We don't see it. We say, all right, we take it for granted. That's the way human beings live with it. See, if you cannot cope with the thing, then what we do is to accept it for granted, and that's a sensible thing to do. In the same way, nature has made you specially in such a manner that you cannot hear certain frequencies. You can only hear certain frequencies. You are created with such beautiful adaptations to nature and surroundings. This earth is moving with such a tremendous speed, you do not feel. It is spinning round so fast, you cannot feel. But we take all this for granted. And we think we are human beings. But why are you human beings? Why have you become human beings? Now what can you find out? What did you find out so far? Whatever you can see, whatever is absolutely factual, that you have found out. You have not been able to find out why these things happen and how these things. How are you going to find out about such a complex thing that is a human being? You have become a human being without doing anything about it. And what are you going to do for getting that awareness by which you are going to know yourself? Nothing. Nothing whatsoever. On the contrary, effort. Human beings put because they have a sense that they can put in effort. But you reach a certain stage later on that you feel you are putting no effort, it's just working out, you are just sitting down very nicely and the whole thing is working out. Say for example, there is a relay in London about some programs in the TV. Now it's all in the atmosphere, you don't see it. And suddenly you start your TV and you get it. What effort have you put in? It was all built in there. And it was all, whatever was done on the other end was also done by somebody. You have just put on the switch and you get pictures which you do not see normally on the walls nowhere, but suddenly you get them. They are there, exist. But you believe into it because this you have seen with your own eyes. It is an actual thing, that's why you believe into it. And that's why you must believe into it when it's an actual thing. So we come to that position where we understand that if anyone talks about higher life, about a power beyond this, then we must have actualization of it. We must feel it. At this point, there's a problem. Because it is easy to talk about peace. That there is a higher life, there's God and there's His power working and all that. All this lecture you can hear from many people. Even actualization of it, you see, they may say that jumping like a frog is actualization. Yes, we have had people like that. You know, in one of my lectures, there was a gentleman who was sitting both his feet towards me. And I said, it's all right for me, but I don't know what's going to happen to this gentleman, you see. And then one of the boys went and said, you're not supposed to sit like this towards mother. She said, you see, I'm sorry, but if I sit in any other form, I cannot sit. I start jumping like a frog. So I said, how do you think that this is this happens? He said, it happens every time, and if I do it now, it will start like that. So I said, but why this has happened? Because my Kundalini has arisen. I am a self-realized person. Who has told you this? He took out a big book like that. You won't believe such a big book. And he showed me written down there that when Kundalini rises, you start jumping like a frog. Now, who is this gentleman? This is some Acharya Brahma, some sort of a name, such a big name, you see. And horrible person's photograph on the table. Such a big book. And this fellow is carrying on his head all the time, jumping like a frog. And he says that, yes, you have to jump like a frog. So I asked him, now when you are going to evolve, are you going to become a frog or a monkey? What are you going to be? This is first thing. You can use your brains for this, to understand what to expect. See, you are not going to become like monkeys or pigs or even lions, you are already the highest and you have to be something higher. So that rules it out. Then the fellow says, another one, he came to me, and he says, the best was we had one from Birmingham. Is he there? This is David. This is our Sahajogi. He's very sweet, otherwise, poor thing. He came yesterday. And I said, what happened, David? What were you doing like this? And why did you do all these things after coming to surgery? He said, there must be some devil on me on the supraconscious level. But he said, Mother, he was so subtle, one of the subtlest one you should understand, that he told me that you are this and this, and that you will give me realization, and I should. It came in my ears. Can you imagine? To that extent it was. And so he believed in that kind of a spirit, and he was carrying on with it. But I said, for telling you this, why should you use any spirit? You can read it in time out. Use your brains. Then we have another one where we think we can purchase, you see, in the market. You see, there are courses afloat. 3 weeks course.
3 years.
3 years course for shaving off all your property. So we go in, you see, for that. Then all such things one must understand cannot be anywhere in reality. So what should we expect? What should be the reality? What we call of knowledge of self. First, science has given us certain things which we should try to understand. And if you understand through science, you can understand God. It's not difficult. Science has given us an understanding that there is a power which we cannot comprehend through our rationality. Even a person like Einstein says that I could not find the theory of relativity in the laboratory. So I was tired, I was lying down, and I was playing with soap bubbles. Imagine, he playing with soap bubbles. And suddenly the whole theory of relativity dawned upon me. Because he was a realized soul. So it has not come from laboratories, these people themselves are saying. So whatever knowledge has come to us has not come through so-called scientific research, but through the grace of some power which is beyond. Science cannot explain many things. For example, the science... बच्चे का तबीयत नहीं ठीक है क्या? उनको जरा बाहर ले जाए, परेशान हो जाए. आगे इसका हाँ थोड़ा बाहर ले जाए. आगे is very bad. He's not well. That's why he's upset. बाहर ले जाओ. All the other children are all right. जरा सा उस बच्चे को जरा बाहर ले जाए. थोड़ी देर घुमा के. Example. So very sweet. They cannot say why so many things happen in the human body. For example, it is said that any foreign body that enters in the system creates a situation by which the body tries to throw it away. But it's only the fetus which is retained in the womb, nurtured and looked after, and thrown away at a time when the thing is absolutely mature. So there is somebody who thinks about it. Then there are two chemicals there, adrenaline and acetylcholine, which are secreted in our being at different points. And they cannot explain how these ordinary chemicals sometimes augment, means constrict, and sometimes relax at different points. They cannot explain it, so they will say, they are honest, so they say the mode of action of these chemicals in the human body cannot be explained. They behave differently from their own nature. Swabhava, from their own nature. There are many such things which I can quote to you and show you that man reaches a point where he thinks that there is something else that takes the decision. Now when you reach that stage, then you start thinking that through science we feel that there is something that we cannot explain, and that rationality cannot take it up there. So there must be some answer to it. The answer comes from psychology. I would say Jung was one of the greatest psychologists ever. He opposed Freud because Freud, was a horrible psychologist. He was a fellow who was treating all kinds of abnormal people. He never treated normal people. So he got possessed by them. And he started behaving abnormally. He himself was a very abnormal person. He had very abnormal relationships and he was really absurd. His own lifetime. And he had a very bad death. He had cancer, he died very bad. But still all of the Western world worships him. They never see what he achieved in his own lifetime, what sort of a person he was, what was his relationship with other people, and how he lived. He was very anxious, always taking pills, and he died of a terrible cancer, and in a very wretched condition he died. While Jung, in his old age, he got his realization, and he was of a very different nature, and when he died, he was looking like a flower. But people do not see all that. They just see what he writes. And because it suits them to listen to Freud, I don't know why it suits them. Actually, it should not normally. So Mr. Freud has come up. And I would say you, if you want, you will find out that this great man has done so many experiments with thousands of people and has established that there are forces beyond us which control. And the forces beyond us which control us, he called them as universal unconscious. Unconscious because they are not in our conscious mind. And he called them as also as he actually did not know how to name it. So he said that he has said it is the mother's force. It's a motherly force. Very clearly he said. And he studied Indian literature and all that. And he has developed some thought on Shakti cult also. So he has used the word Shakti for the universal unconscious. But still, he was just a realized soul. There was no mother to tell him all about what it was. So he could only indicate and tell you that there is an universal unconscious which is guiding him. He experimented with people with their dreams. There's a very famous dream which he interpreted about a man who would always dream that he has to bow to his own son. His son is sitting on a pedestal and he has to bow to his son. Now, the son might be a realized soul. So he came to him and he said, I don't know why I get such a dream. So Jung asked, what is your relationship with your son? He said, it's very, very bad. I said, why? He said, his mother is dead, I'm married again, and my wife is very angry with him, and I really don't know how to manage it. The relationship is gone very bad. So he said, the unconscious is telling you that you must bow to him. He is of a higher awareness, so you must bow to him. It is giving you a balance. that there was another girl who came to him with a dream. Just to put two dreams together actually. He said that I see my mother as a witch. So he asked the girl, what is your relationship with your mother? She said, it's very fine, very good. She actually pampers me. She has pampered me so much that I am just good for nothing. He said, that is the thing is coming to you from your unconscious to suggest that your mother is a witch who is spoiling you. And there are 1,001 like that. You see, there are so many volumes of poem which you can read for yourself. So the psychologists have told us that the state of human awareness would reach at a point when he will be thoughtlessly aware. He will be aware, but there won't be any thought. This is said by you who was a psychologist. So we should know what we have to expect. Now there's another source which is very clear and very, very vivid, which we can understand are the scriptures. If you read John's Revelation, you can read about all these things. You will know that the cool breeze is to be expected. If you read Shankaracharya, of course, I need not say much more because he is the one who has completely exposed the whole thing in the 6th century. This knowledge was a secret knowledge before that because the evolutionary forces had not taken its proper course. It was kept a secret knowledge, a guarded knowledge for very few. Only in the 6th century he started exposing it, then Kabira, then Nanaka. All these people came out with full exposition of Kundalini. The greatest work done on Kundalini was in Maharashtra, where Nathas, the 9 Nathas, the primordial masters they call themselves, worked on it. And also in other places, they also came from Punjab. There was a big rapport between Punjab and Maharashtra. And they went into the forest, meditated, and religiously tried to find out what was Kundalini. What was the force? What was the seed within us? What was the germinating force that is going to give us this? Because one or two were realized whenever they talked about realization, nobody could believe them and could understand that there is a force like that. And they said, oh, please keep us. We are happy with ourselves. Moreover, the people who were realized had such bad experiences of all these people, like they were beaten up, crucified, they were poisoned. Imagine the people. What was there to crucify Christ? I still can't understand. So the very sensible people of this world looked at all the explanations about God and divinity with that kind of a hostile attitude. And there was no way of changing this attitude of this people. And this hostility was expressed even by a religious organization. You see, anybody who was a realized soul was thrown away from churches, from temples. These Brahmins killed them. They tortured them. The last one that we had was the Shirdi Sai. And if you see how the Brahmins from Nagar area, from Ahmednagar, how they tortured him, you will be surprised. Not only that, but they brought a snake charmer with a snake to kill. But he got hold of the snake and he talked to the snake. The snake went away and bit the charmer. Then he was the one who got up and saved the charmer. And he told him, don't do all this. He said, I would not, but people, these Brahmins have given me one. So the people who were supposed to be in charge of religion themselves crucified those saints who talked of reality. And that's how reality was completely blinded. Nobody could see it and people were gagged. This was the problem. And that's why somebody had to come and do this, to give a mass realization to people, so that it becomes a common knowledge. Everything that is discovered by one person has to become the common knowledge, otherwise it has no meaning. Even in the science, you see, you find out about electricity. It has a big history behind it, whatever it is. But at a point, it has to become a common knowledge. If it is not a common knowledge, it will never be accepted and it has no value at all. It has to become a knowledge of Every human being, otherwise it has no meaning. And the time has come for you to have the actualization and to have the complete knowledge of your being. What you are going to be, what you could have been, what are the problems around. So in us is placed the germinating force. We are all built in it. It's like a computer. Absolutely living computer within us is placed through our evolution. One by one, step by step. All these points have been properly put down in our backbone, in our brain, and in the limbic area here. Absolutely in a perfect manner. And only thing that one has to do is to surrender, to accept it. But we'll surrender to all kinds of nonsensical things, but to the right person, our ego will immediately stand up. See? If somebody has two hearts, it is very easy to surrender. Or if somebody is very cunning, very easy to surrender. But where do you surrender? Is to the divine force, to yourself, to your wisdom. What do you surrender? Is your nonsensical, idiotic ego. What do you have to surrender to God? What do you have? Only this non-knowledge which has come to you through ego, or sometimes through these possessions, which is the super. Now for surrendering, people think, how can I surrender? Now you cannot think about it. How should I surrender? Can you work it out on a paper? I will do this, x plus x is equal to so much. It's very simple. How do you love? Do you sit down and make a picture now? I'm going to love my child. So I will make a lap with this much angle and this much angle. Bring the baby there at this angle. Look at her with this angle. Then I'll turn left, right. Then again I'll put the child this side. Do you do like that? You know how to love, don't you? It's built in. Surrendering is nothing but is the love of God that is within you. He is within you in your heart. He is there. All the scriptures have said that, and none of them are wrong or false. They might have misinterpreted somewhere. Everybody has played tricks, you see. Our tantrikas in India, all these who are nowadays gurus, were tantrikas once upon a time in the 6th century. They entered into all kinds of things. And the worst thing they entered into are the Vedas themselves, you see, where they declared that even a thing like Ashwamedha Yajna, which is a very pure thing, is also oriented from sex. What is it? Even they said that the God and the goddess, the God and his power are sex relationships. I tell you, they think human beings are nothing but sex points. They have nothing else in them. Even an amoeba has something more than that. But we accept them. Why? Because we are seekers. We are simple. And we are seeking. We are born in this world to seek. We have taken our birth, especially at this time, to seek. We have been seekers all our lives. And today we want to seek it. And how are we going to seek it? Wherever we get a chance, we run to. I know. It is hard to understand that you don't have to do anything, just sit right. The boat is moving and it will take you to the other side. You don't have to do anything. It was going to work out. The whole tree has to mature. Now, the flowers are there. They attract the bees. The bees come at the right time. They blossom at the right time. And also the fruits appear at the right time. It has to mature. It has to take its own course and time. The way you are built in, the way you are made, it has to complete itself. So the another round starts. And that's why this hurrying up has symptom. That's all. Nothing more than that. And it is very easy to correct this. There's no problem about it. It's very easy. Because once you have light within you, you start seeing everything very, very clearly. Because there is no light, it becomes so difficult. Have you tried climbing up steps without lights in a new house which you have never been? 3 times you'll fall down before you get over one light. But if there is light, whatever type of the house may be, whenever you have been, you can just go up there, just like that. In the same way, unless and until you are enlightened, unless and until you are realized, unless and until you have that power flowing through you, you cannot understand and you cannot see that how simple it is. And you are so beautifully built in your previous lectures that once you get this awakening within you, you start awakening others immediately and you can start it on somebody else. But you see, just now it is such a powerful thing that most of them have got it, so I don't know where I'm going to try. That's the problem. Most of them have got it. See, sometimes it happens like that. So whom are we going to raise now? Mother, everybody's realized.
How regard Linda, she says.
You can do something, you can do something. But she's got it too. You see, that's the problem. That it is so powerful. But we find that it will be settling down again. It has to go back because we have got chakras within us, the centers, which are being exhausted. Like I would say, now this side is the left side and this is the right side. And both sides are the sympathetic nervous system. The right side, sympathetic nervous system, works for your mental being and for emotional being. Mental being and for your physical being. And the left side for your emotional being. In between is the central part, the parasympathetic. Now, the underlying subtle energies that control these two, left and right. The left one is controlled by the power which we call as Mahakala's power, which is I. Then the Reem and the Clean. The Reem is the central power. Ra. Ra is energy. Reem is the one which gives you evolutionary powers and also sustenance. Like carbon has its own sustenance, and like gold has its own sustenance, as you have your own sustenance. Everybody has the sustenance through this central power of Reem is the power of Maharaj. And the right hand side power is the power of Mahasaraswati. Now you shouldn't get upset with the Sanskrit name. It has nothing to do with any particular community or anything, because these were found out by saints who were meditating in India and they knew Sanskrit language. That's why there are Sanskrit names. Moreover, these names also. Science, you see, has developed here, but also in India a kind of a science developed. And the science that was developed in India was the science of Kundalini. Is the force of the germinating power, the residual power within us. And this science has seen or has actually experimented with the movement of the Kundalini when it moves, the sound it makes. And these sounds are different on different centers within us, which are 7 basics, but there are 11 otherwise, and there are 3, how much is 350 million. Alright? So this is the thing. 350 million. But we deal only with 7, at the most with 11. Not more than that. Because it's too much of anything. Why should you worry? You need not worry. Now, you are sitting in this room, it's alright, perfectly well. Why should you worry from where this electricity has come? And from how many drops it must have taken to create this much of electricity? Is it from the water or from the coal? Or what is the history? Who is bothered? You just put on the light and enjoy it. They have done it for you. It's all done. In this also you must take it for granted that it's all done for you and you have every right to have it. So this Kundalini, when it passes through all these various chakras, it makes a sound. And that sound has been taken by those people in the ancient days as the phonetics, phonetic sounds. for forming the Sanskrit language. That's why Sanskrit is used for controlling the kundalini, the movement of the kundalini. And the centers that are within you have got a mark, a landmark of your evolution. For example, the leaders who came at different stages of your evolution were actually the incarnations of divine power, and they have left a mark within you and they exist within you at that particular set. So when you say a particular mantra, that deity opens up and starts emitting energy. But still, human being without realization is a limited energy. His deities have limited energies. But if he is put in connection with the all-pervading power through realization, then his deities are also enlightened. Like if you have a car and you have a limited petrol, alright? And the petrol shortage is there too. Then you are put into tension and you do not know what to do. But supposing there is a permanent pipe on your cap of the petrol tank, see, which is filling it permanently, then you don't have any tensions. You are not bothered. What is exhaustion? Now this exhaustion on all the centers, because these are the underlying forces of all the plexuses that we have outside. When they get exhausted, the plexuses that are active, our body, our mind, our thinking, our emotional activities, all of them get exhausted, and then we develop diseases of various types: physical, mental, emotional. So, to make these centers awakened is a very important thing, even from a day-to-day lifestyle. Like you must fill them up, you must awaken them so that at least your health is alright, your wealth is alright, your mind is alright, and also your emotions are alright. This is the basis. But ultimately, what do you get? Ultimately, you get that connection, which is all the time forward. Not only that much, like unless and until you get this connected to the mains, you cannot work it out. It may be very nicely made. What to do with it? So the first thing is put it to the mains. When you put it to the mains, then only you will realize also where is the problem. Otherwise, you will not know. But when you get your self-realization, you know your problems within yourself. This is the first thing. That is self-realization. You know your centers, how they are affected, where they are affected, what is the problem there, and you get the power to cure them. Of course, thoughtless awareness is there, no doubt, but plus that. Immediately, a person whose kundalini has crossed Agya, only Agya, may not even get realization, then cure others. That's how we have half-baked curing people. So mostly then they get possessed and they get spiritualists. See? Their kundalini only rises up to Agya, and some spirit comes into them, they become spiritualists. But you people, even if it crosses Agya, immediately you can start curing. When it crosses Sastara, this point, the last point, then you enter into that area or into that subtle awareness which is all pervading. Just now we think that you are different, she is different, she is different. But there's a thread passing through. If your attention becomes that thread, then you can pass into anyone. That's how, though you know yourself, you know your problems, everything, you also know others immediately. That is what is the collective consciousness, about which Jung also has indicated. So you have to expect collective consciousness. That is an actualization. That is that your consciousness, your awareness gets that dimension in actual form, that you become that. To explain it, I will tell you. like animals walking through dirt and filth, never feel any dirt or filth. They cannot see beauty, but we can. We cannot walk through dirt and filth. Our awareness is very different from that of animals. In the same way, when you become this, then your awareness becomes so beautiful that you start feeling the sin. You start feeling the wrong. I don't have to tell you, you will not just do it. I don't have to tell you. Automatically, you started feeling what is good for you and what is bad for you. Say, our Rustam has not come. I never tell don't drink like the Muslims do. No, I do. Nothing. You go ahead. Have cancer. Have everything nicely. Then come to me. Have your liver absolutely shattered. Be a drunken fellow. Then you come to me. Alright, doesn't matter. Then the realization takes place. Immediately the priorities change. Absolutely. You'll be amazed. I've seen people who have been terrible drunkards. You see. They said, Mother, we can't drink. I said, what happens? We vomit. Same thing happened with Rustam. He started vomiting. And he couldn't take, you see. I never told him. Then you just enjoy something else. Because if you get the nectar of life, then you don't run after frivolous things. Useless things. Your dignity becomes different. You become different. It's entirely different. Your sense of enjoyment is so different. You become really beautiful flowers. And the fragrance people can see from a distance, even from a telephone. It's so dynamic. And that is what it should happen to. For that, what should you do? People say, Mother, what should we do? Nothing, just ask. You have to ask. You have to knock at the door. That's all. Even if you do not knock, your mother is going to knock at your doors. She's very persuasive. She will come to your house, make you comfortable, she'll massage your body, she'll massage your head, she'll massage your back, work on you, and she'll see to it that she brings you up. She has too much patience. And you'll be amazed that if I'm tired, I feel better when I really do that. Like Patricia came once, she said, Mother, you do so much for us, you've done so much. And I must do something for you. She said, what can you do? She said, I'm very good at massaging the feet. I said, what am I doing? She was massaging my feet and her feet were massaged. And she couldn't understand this. And she was feeling relaxed, she was massaging my feet. I said, what's happening? She said, so surprising. I'm getting relaxed while I'm massaging your feet. So that's what you do. But you must know that you cannot give me everything. I'm here to give and you are there to take. That's your right to take and you have it. It's your own. It's like a mother who loves you, such a lot, and she has such a lot of qualities. Everything is yours. Just take it. Just have it. See, the greatest pride for any mother should be that she sees her children thrive on her power. And then they achieve their own power. And render it to others also. And they become the joyous, happy, blissful children. That's the way I see my dreams. And I'm sure the time has come for it. I'm sure of it. I had to come to London and they have lots of surgeries in India. India is a place is full of good vibrations, no doubt, because we have had great saints coming to India when Christ was there. But it's like when you have a teeth, you don't have food to eat. When you have food to eat, you don't have teeth. Like that is the situation. While here you are the saints, are born in this country, and you are misguided. And there we have people who are not seeking, and they have the vibrations. This is the dilemma of Sahaja. They think, so many of them think that you people are seeking because you are upset with too much of machine-oriented society. That's all. They think it's more, your seeking is more like a remedy for ills that you have got. They do not think that you are seeking something so deep, and that there is a seeking of love. They do not understand. But in India also, I must say Sahaja Yoga has clicked very fast. And once the fire has started working, very fast. And how sometimes it works, it's so interesting that you're really flabbergasted, Like in Delhi, we had a program of opening this book, releasing this book for the first time, and I said, this is too much for me, how will I manage? See, I've never done that sort of a thing. They said, no, mother, you have to just give a lecture, that's all. We think it's a yoga program, and then we look after the rest of it. So the President of India, was somehow cured by me, and all that, and so they wrote to the President of India, he must have come. Luckily, he never turned down this good idea. So they said, Mother, we can't get him. So why not you become the president then? I said, if you think I'm all right, I don't mind becoming the president. And the whole press was there. All the members of parliament are very critical and all of them came. Can you imagine? We had taken they were taking a hall for 200 people. I said, no, just take for 800. I said, will it fill up? I said, just take for 800 people. And all these people came. I don't know with what ideas they came there. But there was no place, even in the passages, to move. People are sitting in the passages. I said, look at this new face coming up. And I said some things which I have never said before. I have used a lot of tact in this life of mine. Because people don't want to hear anything. Like Christ, what did he say? That I am the light, I am the path, which he was. This is not egoistical, is it? You think so? I mean, if you are something, now, if I am Nirvana, I should say I am Nirvana. Is it egoistical? Like Krishna has said, Sarva Dharmanam Parityajya Mamekam Sarvamajya. Give up all these dharmas, all these like religions. He doesn't mean the religion within. But what he's saying, that all sorts of sustainers that you are observing, just come to surrender to me so that you go beyond all these sustainers. Was he egoistical? But he was very tactful. He didn't tell the masses.